The Philippines, a land of smiles, golden beaches, and people who never give up. But right now, some parts of this beautiful country are slowly disappearing. Not because of war, but because nature itself is fighting back. And perhaps, the place you call home might be one of them. This year alone, more than 10 million Filipinos have been forced to leave their homes because of storms, floods, and volcanoes. In some places, rain is no longer a blessing, it's a warning. The waves that once embraced the shore now swallow entire fishing villages. And sometimes, people don't even have the chance to say goodbye. Today, we'll travel across the country, from the distant islands of Mindanao to the heart of Metro Manila, to look at 10 provinces standing on the edge of survival in 2026. This isn't just a list of risks, but a collection of real stories about strength, loss, and the unbreakable hope of the Filipino people. If you love the Philippines, watch until the end of the video. Because behind every storm and crashing wave lies a story of resilience and hope that never fades. And don't forget to share something about your own hometown in the comments. Who knows, it might be the next story we tell. Number 10. Dinagat Islands. On the map, Dinagat Islands looks like a tiny dot in the middle of the vast ocean. But for its people, each island is a world of its own, a place where they were born, raised, and now face the changing tides every single day. In recent years, the sea hasn't just been rising, it's been rising fast, as if trying to reclaim what it once gave. A fisherman stands by the shore, watching his stilt house tilt slightly. 10 years ago, it stood nearly 20 steps from the water's edge. Now just one strong wave could touch the doorstep. Every storm season, we no longer count the fish we catch, he says softly. We count how many roofs are still standing. According to PAGASAS 2025 data, the sea level around Dinagat is rising by 7.8 millimeters per year, almost twice the global average. Because the islands sit close to the Mindanao Deep, waves grow stronger when typhoons strike, absorbing more tidal energy than anywhere else in the Philippines. Typhoon Komagi destroyed over 60% of local aquaculture, forcing hundreds of families to leave their homes in search of a new life. Scientists warn that if this trend continues, 1/3 of Dinagat could vanish before 2050 and one super typhoon could wipe out an entire coastal barangay. Yet, the people of Dinagat refuse to give up. Young volunteers are rebuilding coral reefs, planting mangroves to break the waves, and learning to measure sea levels every day. They say that when the ocean rages, they won't fight against it, they'll learn to understand it. Amid the vast sea, Dinagat still stands small but unyielding, a reminder that not every fragile place is easily washed away. Do you notice the sea around you changing too? Number 9. Sulu. Beneath the clear waters of Sulu once lay coral reefs, as dazzling as hidden treasures. Locals called it the string of pearls of the Sulu Sea. But today, many of those pearls have cracked and disappeared. The reefs have turned gray, the fish have scattered, and the sea, the very thing that once gave life, has fallen silent. A young fisherman dives every day, yet each time he surfaces, his net feels lighter. He says his father used to fill his catch in just one morning, but now, even a week isn't enough to feed his family. The sea doesn't give like it used to, he whispers, gazing toward the hazy horizon. According to WWF Philippines in 2025, more than 60% of coral reefs in the Sulu Sea have severely deteriorated due to overfishing and rising sea temperatures. Pagasa recorded that surface water temperature here has risen by 1.3 degrees Celsius in just 5 years, turning the once turquoise waters into a dull gray. When Typhoon Komagi struck in 2025, it wiped out nearly 40% of small fishing boats and left over 2,000 families homeless. But an even greater danger looms quietly: erosion and rising seas threaten to submerge dozens of small islands within the next few decades. Still, some people choose to stay. On Panglima Island, a group of local youth has started planting artificial reefs and teaching children how to care for corals as if they were their own future. They believe that when the corals come back to life, the fish will return, and with them, food, hope, and the heartbeat of an entire community. Sulu, the string of pearls of the Philippines, now stands at a fragile crossroads between loss and rebirth. Do you believe the ocean can still heal, if only we start listening to it? Number 8. Negros Occidental. A calm morning in the heart of Negros. The sun has just risen, but the ground trembles faintly. In La Carlota, people have grown used to that low, rumbling sound, the steady breath of the earth itself. To them, Canlaon isn't just a mountain. It's a sleeping god, one that could awaken at any moment. A farmer recalls that morning in November 2024, when he heard a faint hiss before the ground shook. "I thought it was a truck passing by," he says, but then the ash began to fall. His hands trembled as he brushed the gray dust from his sugarcane leaves, the same ash that once nourished the soil but now slowly kills it. Within hours, the fields turned gray, and half his crop vanished into the haze. But what worries him most is that Canlaon has yet to truly rest. According to Fivolks, Canlaon volcano remains under alert level 2, meaning an eruption could occur soon. More than 87,000 people were evacuated during the 2024 eruption, and tremors are still being recorded near La Castellana, Bago, and Murcia. Agricultural losses that year reached 430 million peso, while a new threat, poisonous gas, could sweep down the slopes if the volcano stirs again. After the eruption subsided, the people of Bago built volcano shelters, drilled clean water wells, and began replanting crops on the mineral-rich soil Canlaon left behind. An elderly woman said, "The mountain gives us land, but it also tests us. How we live, that's our answer." Canlaon may roar again, but the people of Negros know that strength isn't about avoiding the ash, it's about standing firm within it. If you live near a volcano, would you leave? Or learn to live with it? Number 7. Southern Leyte. Morning in Southern Leyte is peaceful. The crow of roosters, the smell of early coffee, narrow sunlit roads. Looking around, it's hard to imagine that just a few years ago, this place was torn apart by storms so fierce it was almost unrecognizable. But the people remember, because today's calm feels like the sea after a typhoon. Quiet, yet still salty with memories. In 2021, Super Typhoon Odette made landfall with winds over 190 kilometers per hour. Nearly 90% of homes were destroyed, and tens of thousands lost everything. And just as people were rebuilding, Typhoon Kalmagi struck again. 2025 waves over 4 meters high cut off dozens of villages and isolated more than 2,000 families. The main road connecting Mazen and Leilon split apart, and total damage exceeded 1.4 billion peso. The scars of the storm remain not only on the land, but deep in people's hearts. In a small village by Sogad Bay, a young man sits by his porch, eyes fixed on the sea. He says the ocean used to be his playground as a child, but now, every gust of wind makes his heart race. Still, he sails out every day because the sea is both his fear and his hope. Today, Southern Leyte is slowly healing. Locals are replanting mangroves, rebuilding homes with storm-resistant materials, and setting up community-run warning stations. Children are learning how to take shelter safely before typhoon season arrives. The wounds may not be fully healed yet, but this place is learning to stand strong, not to forget the storms, but to live alongside them, stronger than ever. Do you remember a storm that changed your life? Maybe we all carry our own Odette or Kalmagi inside, but how we rise again shows the true strength of the Filipino spirit. Number 6. Aurora. After Typhoon Kalmagi, the beaches of Baler fell silent. No crashing waves, only the wind whistling through the broken frames of seaside cafes. On the sand lay split surfboards among fallen coconuts, a haunting reminder of a night when no one in Aurora could sleep. A woman stands before her home, gazing out to sea. "I've lived here all my life," she says, "and I know every storm eventually passes." Her voice is low and raspy, but her eyes hold something steady. In 2025, Typhoon Kalmagi struck in the night with winds over 160 kilometers per hour, tearing down resorts and homes along Sabang Beach. When morning came, the sky had cleared, but the sea still churned with anger. According to Pagasa, Aurora ranks among the top 5 provinces most frequently hit by typhoons, an average of 8 to 10 each year. Over the past decade, 70% of its coastal rice fields have been flooded, and shoreline erosion in Cagayan and Dinagat has doubled the national rate. Each year, the sea creeps inland by about 1.8 meters, bit by bit, reclaiming what once belonged to it. Yet, the people of Aurora don't simply wait for storms to pass, they prepare to meet them. Houses are built low, with roofs slanted toward the wind. Rows of coconut trees are planted as natural wave barriers. And when the dawn comes, they return to the sea once more. Aurora, the place where storms and sunrise meet, where people have learned that light doesn't come after the storm, but exists alongside it. Do you believe that sometimes storms are nature's way of teaching us how to cherish peace? Number 5, Pangasinan. Along the shores of Lingayen Gulf, there are roads that once cut through villages but now lie beneath the tide. The waves don't have to be fierce, just a little higher each day, each season. Locals say the sea in Pangasinan is no longer far away. It has stepped right into their yards. A fisherman in Barangay Sabangan points westward, toward where the old sandy beach used to be now completely submerged. "That's where the kids used to play football," he recalls. "Now when the tide comes in, I can only see the old goalpost sticking out of the water, like a marker of memory." He still sails out every morning, but the distance grows shorter, because the shoreline has moved nearly 100 meters inland in just a few years. According to the DENR and the UP Marine Science Institute, sea levels around Pangasinan have risen about 15 centimeters over the past 20 years, and coastal erosion has reached 1.2 meters per year, among the highest in western Luzon. A 2025 report revealed that at least 16 barangays along Lingayen Gulf are now in severe erosion danger zones, especially in the low-lying communities near Alaminos and Labrador. When Typhoon Kalmagi struck in 2025, seawater surged 2 kilometers inland, sweeping away salt farms and fish ponds, causing damage worth more than 3.1 billion peso. But the people of Pangasinan don't look at the sea with fear alone. They've begun planting mangrove forests as natural barriers, reviving traditional salt-making through sustainable methods, and building bio-shorelines using rocks and mangrove roots instead of concrete. A teacher in Alaminos said, "We don't teach our children to stay away from the sea, we teach them how to keep it in its place." The sea may reclaim the land, but it cannot take away human resolve. In Pangasinan, strength is not measured by the coastline, but by the people who choose to protect it. Number 4, Pampanga. Every rainy season, the people of Pampanga look north toward the peak of Mount Pinatubo, standing solemn beneath the clouds. More than 30 years have passed since its eruption, yet the mountain has never truly fallen silent. When the rain lasts too long, gray layer mud starts rolling down its slopes, filling the rivers, carrying both fear and the lingering memories of 1991. In a sugarcane field in Porac, an old farmer bends down to inspect a new layer of ash-colored silt on his land. He once witnessed the day the sky turned to smoke. 3 decades later, he sees it again, only this time, Pinatubo did not erupt. Now storms don't need a volcano. The rain alone can make the ground move, he says, smiling faintly, the kind of smile that comes from someone who's lived with fear for too long. Fivolk's 2024 report notes that more than 15 communities in Bacolor, Porac, and Sta. Rita remain in high-risk lahar zones. Ground subsidence averages 4 to 5 centimeters per year, leaving many barangays in constant flooding. When Typhoon Kalmegi struck in 2025, the Pampanga River, lahar flow, and storm rains collided, creating a double disaster that forced thousands to evacuate and caused damage exceeding 2.3 billion peso. Now, Pampanga works with Fivolks and Jika to build an early warning system for lahar along the Porac River, a small but vital hope in this fragile land. Still, the people of Pampanga never give up. They raise their homes on higher ground, plant trees to hold back the mud, and every Christmas, San Fernando glows with lantern light, a reminder that even from ashes brightness can bloom. Pinatubo may sleep, but its ash remains a quiet reminder that living with nature is not about forgetting danger, but about standing firm when it returns. Do you think Pinatubo has truly gone to rest? Number 3, Isabela. In 2009, when Typhoon Pepeng struck northern Luzon, a man in Isabela waded through the Pangasinan River in the dark water up to his neck. He said the water didn't roar like on the news, it simply crept higher and higher, silently but powerfully enough to take everything in its path. When morning came, half his village was buried under thick mud. Water isn't angry, he used to say. It just follows its own path. 16 years later, his son stands in the same spot, but the water is even higher now. In November 2025, Typhoon Kalmegi hit Luzon, pouring more than 400 millimeters of rain in just 2 days. The Cagayan, Magat, and Pangasinan rivers all overflowed, pushing the Cagayan River up by nearly 9 meters and submerging dozens of barangays. The son watched his father's old wooden boat drift away, and in that moment, he finally understood his father's words. No one can defeat the water, you can only learn to live with it. According to the Denner and Pagasa, Isabela lies at the heart of the Cagayan River Basin, the largest river system in the Philippines, covering almost 28,000 square kilometers. Every rainy season, thousands of streams from Cordillera and Quirino converge into one massive inland sea. In 2025, more than 50,000 families were forced to evacuate, and agricultural losses reached about 4.6 billion peso. Yet the people of Isabela have learned to live with their rivers. Houses are built on higher foundations. Bamboo and native trees are planted along riverbanks, and each barangay has its own early warning group. When the alarm sounds, people move calmly, no panic, just quiet coordination, as if they've trained their whole lives with the rhythm of the water. In Isabela, the floods rise each year, but the spirit of its people never sinks. Here, they don't fight against nature. They walk beside it, season after season, generation after generation. Number 2, Cagayan. In the far north of Luzon, where the land meets the Pacific Ocean, lies a province that always greets the storms first and sees them off last. Cagayan. From afar, the rice fields of Apari stretch all the way to the edge of the sea, where the wind howls year-round, yet people still plant, build, and live as if they were part of the storm itself. When Typhoon Kalmegi struck northern Luzon in 2025, Cagayan took the full force of winds reaching over 170 kilometers per hour. Waves nearly 5 meters high broke through coastal dikes. In Barangay Bugay, a young father carried his child through waist-deep water toward the evacuation center. "We've lived through so many storms that we can understand the language of the wind," he said. "When the wind changes direction, that's when we know we're still alive." According to Pagasa, Cagayan experiences an average of 9 typhoon landfalls each year, the highest in the Philippines. Between 2020 and 2025, more than 70% of its coastal communities were directly hit by storm-level winds. In 2025 alone, rainfall exceeded 2,500 millimeters, triggering flash floods across smaller rivers that feed into the Cagayan, the longest river in the country. Yet, This land is also home to the Philippines' most advanced storm tracking and early warning station, part of the National Meteorological Network. Locals call Cagayan the Pater Bansa, the wall of the nation. Not because they romanticize hardship, but because they know, without Cagayan, much of the South would never be safe. They are the first to face the wind, and the first to rise and rebuild when it's gone. Cagayan doesn't avoid the storm, it welcomes it, holds it, and stands again among the ruins. Here, where sea and land meet, people do not fight nature, they defend the whole nation with their courage. Number 1. Metro Manila. In Metro Manila, you don't need an alarm clock. The city wakes to the sound of engines, horns, and smog. Along endless lines of traffic, people inhale the breath of millions and air made of dust, smoke, and exhaustion. A jeepney driver says he wakes at 4 in the morning to beat the rush hour. But by 5, the roads are already full. He smiles wearily. In Manila, you don't chase time, you just try not to let it crush you. He wipes the dust off his windshield, the kind that's invisible, yet everyone breathes in. In this city, the air is no longer unseen. It has a pale gray color, heavy and inescapable. According to the World Air Quality Index 2025, Manila often ranks among the 5 most polluted cities in Southeast Asia, with PM2.5 levels 7 times higher than WHO's safe limit. During the dry season, people in Quezon, Caloocan, and Pasig live under a hazy sky where they can smell smoke even without a fire. And when the rains finally come, the city's only relief, the streets drown. Typhoon Kalmagi in 2025 flooded 70% of Metro Manila, causing nearly 9.6 billion peso in damages. A JICA study warns that if land subsidence and rising seas continue, 15% of the city could be permanently underwater by 2050, starting with Malabon and Navotas, once bustling areas now slowly turning into cities beneath the waves. Yet, amid all this, there are still people helping the city breathe. In Makati, a group of young students has transformed abandoned rooftops into green gardens that filter air, each plant a quiet act of resistance. We can't stop the city, one girl says, but we can help it breathe. Metro Manila, the heart of the Philippines, is tired. But like every heart, it only needs rest, care, and a chance to be cleansed. Do you think we're suffocating this city, or is it simply reflecting the way we live? From Dinagat to Cagayan, from tiny windswept islands to the vast plains of the Cagayan River, we've traveled through stories not only about nature, but about human endurance. 10 provinces, 10 stories, 1 spirit, the unbreakable resilience of the Filipino people. If you've ever lived through a storm, you understand Filipino strength doesn't lie in what they build, but in how they begin again. Share this video so the world will know, no matter how many times nature tests us, Pinoy pride remains a flame that never fades. Thank you for watching until the end. See you in the next story.